Hey guys, and welcome back to another video on Lumber Capital Log Yard. Sawdust. Every log yard makes their fair share of it, and every log yard or mill has to find a way to get rid of the massive quantities produced daily. This begs the question, what can sawdust be used for? What are its uses? That's the topic of today's video. Let's get into it. A lot of the tools that we use make sawdust. Anything that's going to be cutting wood. So chainsaws, the resaw, the mill of course, and the Bell's firewood processor. While the resaw along with the chainsaws don't really produce much sawdust, the mill and Bell's firewood processor certainly do. Depending on what tool or machine you're using also depends on the look of the sawdust. For example, the mill has a lot finer dust than the Bell's firewood processor. Take a look. This is the sawdust from the mill. You guys see this all the time on the channel. It is not like the finest sawdust that I've certainly ever seen, but it's definitely finer than most of the other stuff that we get. Chainsaw sawdust is not really even dust. It's really kind of like little spirally longer pieces. I don't really know how to describe it. We'll see if we can find some over here, but it all looks very different from one another. Let's go look at the Bells. And this is what a pile of sawdust looks like from the Bells. A lot larger chunks, a lot more chip-like, less sawdusty, more chip. And for another comparison, this is what chainsaw chips look like. Even larger than the Bell's chips, I think. So now you know the product that we are working with. Because of its many uses in everyday life, we managed to sell a hefty portion. What's surprising is not a lot of people know all of the uses it has. In previous videos, I've talked a lot about how we sell a majority of it as animal bedding, but what else do our customers use it for? Number one is it's great for spills. This is just a puddle, but so you get what I'm trying to say here. The sawdust is really good at just soaking up anything, so I'm sure we've all been in the position where you've had some oil spill or maybe you spilled some fuel on the ground and that needs remedied immediately. You can't leave that. So a great solution to that is just to put down some sawdust because it will just soak that right up like it is this puddle right here. Number two is you can use it as a fire starter, and I see this done a lot with more of the larger chips than the actual sawdust, but I see a lot of videos for like DIY, make your own fire starter out of sawdust, and I think that this is a great idea because instead of using newspaper, which has that ink in it, it's a lot cleaner product if you use something that doesn't have all that on it, and the sawdust would certainly be a lot cleaner product. I mean, technically newspaper is wood, right? But minus all the inks, which is a lot better for you and the environment. Number three is tread. I'm sure we've all been in the situation once again where it's icy out and you're stuck. Some people use potash in their driveways, but an alternative to that would be sawdust. And either one really works. We've used both. They both work pretty good. And so yeah, that's once again a great use. And considering that sawdust is a byproduct of most sawmills, if you have a sawmill in your area locally, you can probably get it for fairly cheap. So it is definitely an alternative to laying down a bunch of salt because it's probably going to end up being cheaper. Number four is mulch. A lot of people actually use sawdust as mulch in their yard. And so one thing that you're going to want to be aware of is it does need nitrogen to decompose, so it will draw all the nitrogen up through your soil, which can be an issue depending on what you're trying to do. So sawdust is really great. I'd still use it. What a lot of people say to do is just to make sure that you add in extra nitrogen. So whether this is like with blood meal or maybe some kind of animal fertilizer, like horses or cow fertilizer, that would be just amazing combo for your garden or your yard in general. Number 5, and keeping with the theme, blueberries. This is a specific one that I wanted to save for last because we actually have a lot of customers who come in and buy sawdust for their blueberries specifically, because blueberries like more acidic soil, and sawdust is going to do that for you. So a lot of people use it for their blueberry patches. Once again, you have to be aware that it does like to draw up the nitrogen, so nitrogen will also have to be added into the soil if you use a lot of sawdust, but blueberries love it, and anybody that grows blueberries knows it, so they're always coming in for scoops of our sawdust. That's it for today's video, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But other than that, I'll see you back here next time.